Hello and welcome to the Black Tower. I'm your host, your guide, your brother, the sorcerer, Armana Soul. Alright, it's not very often I feel compelled or driven to do back to back videos. I've been doing my shout out honoring the elder gods. Uh, but I also have not done the knowledge lecture for this month, and I thought a very apt one ancient memory. Where, oh, where do we begin? But to look to the stars, to the constellations, and in them I hear, faintly like an echo, the call, I gazed upon them. Nostalgia awakens within me, and a voice ever so clear beckons me on to watch, to see as they open in their splendor, and to see these beings come to life, to see why they are the way that they are, and to realize that these ancient beings were immortalized by their likenesses being cast upon the heavens, sewn into the silk of the body of the mother herself. Reminds me of a poem my brother wrote years ago. It's kind of strange that his poetry would come to mind, considering we're not exactly on best of talking terms. But this poem that he wrote that drew Orpheus to sing such warbled notes as to draw iron tears down Pluto's cheek. Now, Orpheus being a minstrel of sorts, Greek something or other, I don't know. Pluto being the farthest planet to cold, and hence cold iron and drawing iron tears down Pluto's cheek. I won't really go into the explanation of it, but it was to mimic the beauty and the coldness of space, and to see it. Then when we look upon them, that we remember. Look upon me, O man, and remember what ancient artistry would draw the images that we see in the sky, and why and how, when we focus on individual ones, do they awaken powers within us. And it reminds me of high magic writings and stuff, Aleister Crowley, Golden Dawn, Thelema, so forth, so on, all these, the Hermetics, all these different things. And it's just through seals and symbols are powers awakened and reawakened. And in this sense, like with the workings with the Azani and drawing their constellations upon a black stone, we're tapping into that being, into that power, into that force through that symbol. What powers lie there? I think that is individually. I think that's an individual thing. I think that each of us draws our own conclusions. It's kind of like people who see things in the clouds or in their drink or whatever. And then you would have the naysayers, the arguers, the ones who would sit there and say, oh, that's just your imagination, blah, blah, blah. But imagination is key to the inner child. And the inner child, through play, teaches us to awaken to the realm of possibility that our so-called adult minds don't allow us. Imagination may be the playground of the child, of the inner child, but imagination is also the ground from which all things were created. That's why it's important to me personally to have a little bit of humor mixed in with the seriousness. This has not always been so. Uh, Back before my wife and I met, I was probably one of the most serious people you will ever meet, and I hope and pray that you don't ever meet anybody that serious. I don't even think I knew how to crack a grin. I'd have people try to tell me jokes and shit, and then be like, "That was actually funny, dude. Why aren't you laughing?" I'm like, "I'm laughing. I'm laughing inside, though." I was that serious. Uh, and then I meet my wife, and she's into the Fae and all this other stuff, and I was like, I wasn't a skeptic per se, skeptic because I believed anything was possible, but like I had never seen one or even experienced them until I started seeing these things being able to like flutter about leaving trails, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, either I've stepped into Wonderland, tripping my balls off, and I'm not on anything, or it's real. And the wife helped me to awaken my inner child because even though I always took myself to be an occultist and a serious practitioner, there was an aspect of myself I was missing, and it was the inner child. And through going on 14 and a half years of marriage, I've learned to incorporate it into my daily life because if you're always so intent and so serious on every little thing, you miss out on the joy of living, of being, of existing. And whether you're aware of this or not, but there are a lot of powers and spirits and beings in the multiverses that literally, I don't know if jealous is the word for it, but they most definitely desire life like we know. Now, this could be part of the whole, we come upon this plane to work to become. Because on no other plane is it said that you're able to do what we can do on this plane. To become, to awaken, to overcome trials, to become stronger and better. Because other planes are fixed planes. This is the only plane that anything is possible. And therefore, it lends credence to that. But what is this voice that we're hearing? What is this inner urging? And this is where I think it's interesting that it goes hand in hand with the gut instinct of Jupiter's effect on us. That also is like a silent voice beckoning us, echoing, saying, come and see. I will show you. I have had more spirits than I can count or remember correctly that have literally appeared to me in dreams or just like an inner guiding voice. Follow me. I want to show you something. I will show you things that you never thought possible. I will teach you things that your books cannot teach you. I will show you the way in which you can do blah, blah, blah. And every time that I followed and I listened, I learned, uh, whether imaginatory, whether real, whatever. And who's to argue or say the point of what's real and what is not real? I live that to each and every one of you. Take it how you will, do with it what you want. But sticking with the concept of this knowledge lecture, ancient memory. I've shown videos where I'm talking about, how to awaken ancestral memories, so forth and so on. Talking about with dealings with the dead and things. That was just, it's not forgotten. It's just dead. It's forgotten. Dead is forgotten. It is no longer remembered until you remember it. Bring us into ascension. Remember, remember, remember. So goes one of the old ascension rituals that I've posted in video before. Here's this night before the blood is shining over the land. Here are spirits of those long gone, of those that thirst for life. It's an ascension ritual, and it's meant to ascend the soul, the spirit within, to blend the homogeny, the different colorings together into one ornate, beautiful, singular, crystalline shape. And who's to say what that shape is to be or to become? What it was, what it is, and what will it be? That is completely between you and your spirit guides, between you and the gods that you work with, between you and the demons, daemon, spirits that you abide with and that abide with you. There is no such thing as fear where we exist, they say. These spirits that seem to not have any of the obstacles or challenges that we do in our physical life. And there is no fear, and they don't understand why we're afraid, why we can become disrupted, or anything can upset our balance and so forth and so on, because they're used to a fixed world. And so they teach us the lessons of fixed worlds to teach us how to fix our worlds. And this is ancient memory. The lessons, the sights, the sounds, the taste, the smell, the touch, the feeling, the knowing. I can't tell you how many times I've screwed up my own sleep by going to bed and thinking, I'm just going to go to sleep. I'm going. And then the next thing I know, I am having a full-blown conversation with something who found me chilled out, relaxed, and separating my mind, my conscious mind, and drifting off. And it's like, hey, I want to tell you something. I want to show you something beautiful. 9 times out of 10, it is very beautiful. And not beautiful as in the eye of the beholder kind of beautiful, but beautiful in its intricacy, beautiful in its approach. And then it seems to explain it to me. The symbolism breaks down in my head without it even having to try. It's like the spirit was just trying to get me to awaken to an image or an idea. This is called ancient memory. You tap into it using constellations drawn on stone, symbols drawn on paper. See a lot here lately these days in the left-hand path community about Belial. That is cool as shit. I have a being that I have placed in the place of an ascending spirit, or whatever you want to call it, works through me to help me. And I can only thank Michael Debbie Ford for introducing me. Ahriman. Now, who or what is Ahriman? Ahriman is one hell of a being. But I will say this. If you're not ready for your life to go tits up, as they say, if you're not ready for everything to be smashed to smithereens, me and my wife, we were homeless. Oh my goodness, at the crap that was befalling us left and right. It took a few years, and when everything straightened up, I was scared. Was I scared? I was scared to mess with anything. I've talked about this in earlier videos. Oh, I was scared shitless. What was interesting the other day, I was having a conversation with Armin. He was like, look at where you were. He's like, he says, you were boxed in from all sides. He says, there was no room for growth, no room for becoming. He said, you'd become stale. And you called upon me. You called upon Lilith to awaken the lust, the desire, the drive for life within you. You took upon my envenomed kiss. You became Azi de Haka. You walked the serpent's path. You heard my call. Are you that afraid? Well, I got a lot of shit I've been working on. And he's like, yeah. And you could not have achieved it where you were, in the place you were. And I'm like, well, I'm not saying I'm not thankful or appreciative, because I really do. I really am. But, man, you scared the shit out of me like everything went tits up. Like, it went crazy town. Crazy train, crazy bill. I mean, my goodness, I don't just believe in rampant destruction just for the sake of destruction, constructive destruction and all that. And he's like, my ways are my ways. And you called upon me and you asked for my help. And that is my help. And I was like, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I would not be the man I am today if not for you. I would not be the practitioner that I am today if not for you. I wouldn't be where I'm at financially, emotionally, spiritually, if not for you. If not for just everything going to shit. If nothing else, it taught me deep respect for beings of that nature that can destroy everything. Because, see, the secret about Armin is to teach you how to be beyond your fear of holding on to everything around you. That is not what makes you you. That is not what fulfills you. What fulfills you is the long, dark road before you, the starry path, darkened roads, serpent's path. This ancient memory, and I call it an ancient memory because I can just imagine the first of the sorcerers, the first of these left hand path practitioners, these black brothers, sisters that walk this path of sorcery. I can just imagine the secrets that they knew that we don't know now. And so, through working with these powers, these beings, we're remembering and we're being taught their ways. Now, a lot of the times it requires skills that you may or may not have, whether you can communicate with the spirit, whether you can or can't, whether you see him or don't see him, whether whatever. In that event, what you do is do some research. There is all kinds of free stuff online. Teach you how to do this and how to do that, how to develop this skill, how to develop that skill. Go to it, learn it, do it. Because if all you're doing is waiting on someone to approach you with it or to hold your hand and walk you through it, you're never going to become. And there will be certain spirits out that just seriously, honestly, they won't work with you. They won't answer your calls. They won't anything because for some reason they respond and they react to willful people, to people who actually take responsibility for themselves and their world, who seek to change their own self and so forth and so on. These are the crafters of their own soul. And so some of these most ancient spirits that are connected with this ancient memory, that's how they are. And so to awaken that ancient memory, what do you need to do? Sometimes it is just enough to connect with certain spirits, certain beings, so forth and so on. And sometimes that knowledge comes to you when you're ready. The master's footsteps approach and all that. When the ears of the student are open, the footsteps of the master are heard as he approaches, or something like that. I don't really know the phrase, and I don't really care. The concept's there, though, is that when you're truly ready, it'll answer your call. It'll come to you. It'll be like, hey, you were looking for me? Here I am, big man. What you got? Or what's up, lady? And, it don't really matter how it works. It works like that. And I I look back and I still quake inside at the amount. And it was so interesting carrying on a conversation with Arma because I'm just sitting there like, you really did. You upset my mental emotional balance. Like, you didn't just take out the world around me, man. You took out me from the inside out. He's like, and I had to get you out of that complacency. I was like, complacency? I was trying to do this and try to do that and all this. You were doing nothing. You say you're about ascension. You say you're about becoming. And in that state and in that being, you could not. You couldn't the way you were. And so I had to destroy it. And I was sitting there like, I'm kind of working on some stuff right now. Please, just be kind. And he's like, don't you trust me? What happened to the fearlessness? And I was like, oh, you're absolutely fucking right. All right, man. I trust you. And it's really interesting that when certain spirits communicate with you, and when you're talking about whether it's in your head or if it's real, here's an indication of it being real. When so-called miracles start to happen in your life, things start to line up perfectly that you kind of had no hand in. Seemed like an invisible hand was creating it. That's these spirits moving stuff in and out. You'll notice that. Now, in the event of, you know, destruction and stuff, sometimes it's you destroying you, and then sometimes it's these spirits making room for more. And if fear is a doorway, then as I've been told numerous times by spirits, then death is the catalyst. The ways in which are must be passed, they must go, they must die to make room for new. Now, me personally, I don't go around my life trying to destroy tidbits of stuff, so forth and so on, in the sense of, oh, I'm sacrificing this, so it must die so I can have new. No. But I do rely on the spirits that I work with, these ancient ones, these elder gods, these old ones, these powers, these forces, these whatever term you give them. I do work with them to create the change necessary for me to become. But with that comes challenges. And if you're not up for the challenge, step up or go home, as they say. There is no try. There is only do or do not. Boy, that's a Yoda thing. That was so cool as shit, and I didn't even mean to do that. But it's perfect. It's a good explanation of this. Now, how does this tie into ancient memory? Because to be able to tap into it, you're going to have to work with certain spirits. And to work with certain spirits, you have to have the willingness to allow change to occur. For this knowledge to flow in, because what you think you have to let go of for new knowledge to come in. Or don't worry, they could do like they do me and just decide, I've been sitting underneath the fig tree so long, and they're like, yeah, food shade's not good for him, dry up the tree, no, no, no fruit, no shade, oh, he's gonna get up and move now. The spirits, once you call upon them, they have that knack. They either you get up and move on your own, or they'll be like, well, you called me, you're not gonna waste my time, you're gonna move. And so you kind of have to take this all into account when working with these things. Like, for example, the opening the gate of Ganzira's otherworld, where the mother Tiamat, serpent's path that you're walking, where you're meeting her son, lover, consort, whatever, commander of her armies, Kingu, whose blood was spilt to make the race of mankind to hoover on down the line. You're going to learn that these are darker aspects, but with them come memories, ancient memories, of teachings, of lessons long gone. But these teachings and lessons will only come to you. You'll only open up to them the more and more you work with their symbolism. Like it was explained to me with Armin the other day, because I'm sitting there like, look, I'm doing this. He goes, yeah, he says, you got a whole year of this and you're going to have another year? Yeah, you sure do. And I'm going to help you. How can you do that? And it's like, because I'm all about some overcoming obstacles. I'm all about becoming. And you're doing the work of becoming. So I'm going to help. Well, who am I to refuse help? Ha! Thank you. Can I have another? And with that being said and done, I had to re-welcome this spirit's influence into my life. Well, I didn't have to. I chose to. Because it was something I started a long time ago. And 2 years ago, I decided I would finish what I started. And I will be if my life hasn't gotten better ever since I've decided to do it and stick with it. You know, I think of things that I've been working for a year and a half in the making of getting done through long term spell work and workings and so forth and so on. And then, like the other day, sitting there listening to Armin, and I sitting there and I realized I've only come this far because I had nothing to lose, and there was nothing I could lose. There's nothing. There is only becoming or not becoming. And when I chose to become everything that I would need, everything that I would want or desire came into being. And that's what you have to take into consideration when working with these powers. Do you want to be the person that you are, or do you want to be the person that you truly are, the person unknown to you? And in the words of a real good brother of mine, the shadow shows your true image. Of all the stuff that you hide, of all the stuff you put away, it is your real image. It is your true image. It's the image that you may or may not like, love, want, or desire, but it's who and what you really are. And I like that because when you accept that, then comes the knowledge and the memory attached to that, and that is connected with the ancient memory because all things are eternal, all things are immortal. They you can neither make nor destroy. You can neither create nor destroy energy. Energy just is, and all these beings, no matter what shape, form, color, so forth and so on, intrinsically connected, intrinsically the same, just with different masks and different faces. And if you want in on that, all you have to do is, like, for example, with the Kingu, drawing the constellation of Aries on a black stone, focusing in on it, seeing it like it's the constellation before you, the ancient artistry of stars. Look upon me, O man, and remember, remember, remember. Because with it comes memory, it unlocks all that you would ever need, want, desire to know is already inside you. But how do you tap into the knowledge of the infinite? Well, you have to tap into the infinite, and we do that one step at a time, one symbol at a time, one being at a time, so forth and so on. The road is long. It is not without its tasks, but in the end, do you want to be the same old person that you've always been? Or do you want to be who and what you truly are and truly become? Because that is what it requires to awaken this ancient memory. With that being said and done, I wish each and every one of you, my brothers, my sisters, peace, blessings, and power. Till next time.